Permanent visas for skilled and experienced migrants with occupations on the skilled occupation list are available under the Skilled Independent 189 and Skilled Nomination 190. So in both the cases, applicants are ranked based on factors such as qualifications, employment history, English language proficiency, and their age. So these two visas may share many similarities, but there are also several key differences between them. Hello and welcome to Edutrainex, your best buddy to guide for your visa applications. I am Nandini Watts, and today in this video, I will be telling you about the differences between Skilled Independent Visa 189 and Skilled Nominated Visa 190 for Australia Permanent Residency Permit. But before going further to know about the differences, let me briefly tell you about 189 visa and 190 visa. However, I'll be making videos on these two types of visas, explaining them in detail. So stay tuned for the update. Skilled Independent Visa is for those candidates who are skilled international employees in Australia. So those who hold Visa 189 can stay and work in Australia for as long as they wish. So this is a permanent visa. Now, applicants who wish to work in Australia as skilled workers must apply for Visa 189. The cost is approximately 4,115 Australian dollars. So in addition to it, you can also sponsor your eligible relatives for permanent residency in Australia. A skilled overseas worker may apply for a Visa 189 if they are under 45 years of age, and this visa is based on points. So therefore, you must score 65 points or higher than that on the points test. So your chances of getting a Visa 189 are higher if you score over 65. Now, a Visa 189 allows you to stay and work permanently in Australia, as I already said that, and it also offers multiple travel options. So Australia allows you to travel there and back for 5 years. So as soon as you receive Visa 189, you become a permanent resident of Australia. And also, if you qualify, you can apply for Australian citizenship. Isn't that interesting? So talking about Visa 190, then it is for applicants who are nominated skilled employees from other countries. For Visa 190, skilled workers can be nominated by their respective state or territory governments. The main difference between a 189 and 190 visa is the state nomination. It is also a permanent visa. With this visa 190, you can live and work in Australia permanently, just like in the case of 189 visa. And applicants under the age of 45 can apply for it. So for this visa, you must submit your expression of interest, which is also known as EOI, through Skill Select. Now, points are awarded based on the claims you make in your EOI. A points test is used to determine eligibility for Visa 190, and in order to obtain this visa, you must score 65 points on the points test. And if your score falls below 65, the Department of Home Affairs will not invite you for Visa 190. If you choose an occupation from the skilled occupations list, make sure that it is relevant to your work experience. So to be eligible for your nominated occupation, you must undergo a skills assessment. So the cost of Visa 190 is also approximately 4,115 Australian dollars. Additionally, you can apply for a visa for a member of your family also. However, applicants with family members will be charged separately. Hopefully, you got an overview about both the visas, Visa 189 and 190. Now about the differences. So 189 and 190 visas differ mainly because an Australian state or territory is required to sponsor the applicant. So for the 190 visa, you must be sponsored by an Australian state or territory, thus adding additional eligibility requirement. On the other hand, no sponsorship is required for the 189 visa. So this visa allows you to live and work permanently anywhere in Australia without the sponsorship of any state or territory. Now, if you are applying for a 190 visa from a state or territory, you must first determine the eligibility criteria imposed by that particular state or territory. Now, there are several factors that will determine your eligibility, including your nominated occupation, your location within or outside Australia, and the state or territory in which you reside. So every state and territory has its own employment and residence requirements. So it is important to review these well in advance. A specific period of time may be required to live and work in a particular state or territory before receiving an invitation. Certain occupations may also be subject to additional criteria depending on your state or territory of residence. The quotas set by the Australian federal government will also affect the requirements specific to each state. Now, it is recommended that you consult with a migration lawyer before submitting an EOI to ensure eligibility for the state or territory sponsorship. So, in contrast, to obtain a nomination for the 189 visa, you do not need the sponsorship of a state or territory. As an independent visa holder, you can live and work anywhere in Australia without being obligated to any state. So, with a 190 visa, you must live for at least 2 years in the state where you are sponsored. Now, there is another difference between the 189 and 190 visas when it comes to the lists of skilled occupations. So, due to the lack of state or territory nomination requirements, the 189 visa only requires that the occupations be listed on the medium and long-term strategic skills list, which is also known as MLTSSL. Now, on the other hand, your invitation to apply for a 190 visa depends on the sponsorship of a state. So, you need to check whether your occupation is on each state's or territory's occupation list, as not every state or territory nominates the same occupation. See, every time I'm repeating state or territory because that's the most important part of the 190 visa. Now, there are also differences in the processes and frequency of invitation for 189 and 190 visas. Every month, the federal government issues invitations for 189 visa for each occupation on the MLTSSL. Now, COVID-19 had created an economic climate that made invitation rounds for the 189 visa run just quarterly. Now, the number of EOIs that may be selected for a particular occupation is limited in the invitation rounds for the 189 visa. So, once an occupation reaches its quota or ceiling, no further invitations will be issued. Now, since states and territories issue invitation based on their individual needs and shortages, so they have more discretion in selecting EOIs. So a more balanced distribution of skilled migrants can be encouraged by using the migration program as a mechanism to support state and territory development strategies. So 189 and 190 visas are both permanent visas under Australia's General Skilled Migration Program. But each of them has its own requirements and process. So if you're seeking one of these visas,
with every passing day, more and more students are joining Edutrainex's highly successful PTE courses, which are very result-oriented yet inexpensive, which you can join from anywhere in the world and realize your dreams of studying or settling abroad. So if you're struggling with your English test requirements, join us today for guaranteed success.
or would like to know more, you can contact us or you can even ask in the comment section below. We will be happy to help.